Right, so aerial rescue. This is a big subject. We are not going to cover every scenario. I just want to give you a couple of little points. So the workshop earlier was more work related, so more about the procedure, planning for a rescue, the procedures, what to do in the event of an accident at work. The aerial rescue event in the tree climbing competitions is to simulate us carrying out a real rescue. So all the points that were talked about earlier will still be relevant. However, there's no point me talking about everything if it's not in the rule book or the score sheet. So the rule book, which you can obviously just get a version online, doesn't have to be in a book. There are the score sheets at the back. It's really important. If I want to score high in the aerial rescue, I need to listen to the scenario when we do the walk round. I need to think about how I'm going to get to the casualty. I need to be able to execute it, so actually get the casualty and get them down. But I also need to follow the score sheet. If I do an amazing rescue, but I don't really touch these points here, it doesn't really count. So if you haven't looked at the score sheet, it's a really good idea just to familiarize yourself with it. So we've got certain tasks on the left-hand side that we must perform. We must do that to get some basic points. So things we must do during the rescue. We must communicate with the casualty and determine responsiveness. The next thing we must do is verify the ascent line and anchor point are safe to use. So there's no point me going into the tree if I'm not happy that the access line is okay. Then I get into the tree. I must secure myself at the casualty in a safe working position. And what is a safe working position? So we get to the casualty, we use our work positioning strop, nice and easy. I'm ready to descend, but I must say an audible warning before I descend. So before I'm ready to pull on the hitch that you're attached to, I make sure that ground staff know and it's all clear to come down. So it would be stand clear, climbing coming down. Last section, competitor and casualty landed on the ground. Unclip the casualty within the time limit. Okay, so I would unclip you. So they're the things you must do. Then on the right-hand side of the score sheet are extra points. So if I've achieved...
Otras cosas son puntos extra.
So let's say the first one, I've communicated with the casualty and determined responsiveness. So I've talked to the casualty, nice and quick and easy, found out that they're unconscious. Then we've got contact emergency services, assess the hazards and determined if it's safe to perform a rescue. Communicated and initiated rescue plan. That's a funny one. That's a funny thing because people forget this. So one thing that you want to do is tell the judge or whoever's with you, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I plan to do, and I'm going to execute it like this. Just a very quick explanation. So I'm not going to go through every single part, but if you can kind of get those words or terminology for your judges, it will make their job a lot easier.
Nuestra víctima lista. Who's a victim? You know, because you look like a victim.
Always.
Coronavirus having no
I hope this isn't going to be the first two-person rescue.
Dos víctimas, sí. El Ludo sí parece víctima, ese güey está todo jodido. Parece víctima.
Good. So when I'm talking during the rescue, I obviously want to say enough, but not too much. Okay, because I've only got a short period of time. Say just enough. Your judges are going to have their head down and they're going to be listening for certain words. So you're going to have a walk around tomorrow, and this is a really important time. So what I'll do is I'll walk around and I'll look where the casualty is. I'll see what they're attached to. I'll ask the judges Am I okay to use their ropes to come down? Has it been cut? So I'm already thinking how I'm going to bring them down. I'll go over to the access line. Because we can't change this access line, it is the one that the judges have given us. I need to look at it and check it will be compatible with whatever I want to attach to. I'll also look at where the casualty is. So if my anchor point I've been given is here on the right, I've got to work out how I'm going to get to the casualty and whether I need to take another rope with me. I'll look at where if there's any redirects, if I need to make a new anchor point. The other thing I'll do is check the judges haven't given me a short rope that's not long enough to come down to the ground. There will be something that they're expecting you to look for. So it could be a hazard on the ground. It could be what they've told you has happened to the casualty. It could be the rope. So just have a good look. Don't be afraid to ask questions. So during the walk round, so once I've worked out what equipment I'm going to use and the systems that I'm going to use, which I tell you will change from the time that I've looked at the tree and the next day. You will have about 5 plans. But once I've worked out before the event which system I'm going to use, I will prepare myself. So time starts when you enter the ring, okay?
Handsaw, you take the handsaw.
Okay.
You have to have a handsaw.
There's no requirement in the rule book to say you need a handsaw. However, if I'm thinking realistically, there is a potential. So if the scenario was where the climber's line could not be used, or you had to lift them or remove them from their line, I may think I need to take a handsaw with me in case I was to have to cut a line. But if I voice that, that might be a bonus. So going back to the ascent event, same thing with this, prepare. So I'll make sure foot descenders are on, they're open. I've kind of worked out the order that I want to take equipment off, my harness.
Is the rescue climber ready?
I think so.
Think so?
So I'm going to make sure that I take everything I want with me into the ring, okay? So if you forget something, you can't use it.
Judges are ready?
Cool.
Climber ready?
I'm ready.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Good. So whenever you're ready, go.
It's a play at the end of the day. So what I'm going to say is kind of the same for every rescue, but there'll be a few things that I put into it. Okay? 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, we've got an accident, so we're just going to stop work. Can you tell me what you've done? Okay, now don't wait for that casualty to respond. The number of times that I see somebody go, can you tell me what you've done?
Okay.
They're not going to talk back to you because they need it consistent for every climber. If he says something that's leading, it will be wrong. So your casualty will either groan or say nothing. So don't wait for that casualty to say something. So I'll talk to them, find out, and I'll just go straight into it. I say, right, I've got a climber in the tree. They're unresponsive. It looks like they've cut their left hand quite badly there. They're unable to bring themselves down. The tree looks like it's safe to climb. We've got no power lines, no hangers, no other hazards. So I'm going to carry out an aerial rescue. What I'd like you to do is take the emergency plan with the risk assessment, go and call the emergency services, let them know that they come in at that entrance over there, and then bring them in once they've been called. Now, when I'm talking, I'll also be doing. So while I'm saying those things to you, I would be checking the rope is long enough to come down, having a look at the tree. Remember, one of the key points is to say that you're happy that the tree is safe to climb and the ascent line has been verified. So say those things. I've checked the tree, it's safe to climb. Practice putting your stuff on. I know that sounds funny because we do it every day at work. But I tell you, as soon as there is a stopwatch and 5 people looking at you and you're trying to talk about the access line and no power lines, I guarantee that hitch you've tied,
That's wrong.
you'll go, I can't, you won't get it right. Good, I'm happy with that. So just stand clear on ascent while I start to go up into the tree. And I'll also communicate how I'm going to carry out the rescue. So I'd say to you, I'm going to use this access line, go across, assess the situation, and I'm happy that his line is safe to use. I'm going to use his system to bring him down once it's safe to do so. While you're moving, keep talking. There's a lot of times that you'll watch people's rescues and it's quiet now for the next 3 minutes. Keep talking. So as I'm going up, what I'll do on my way up, I'll keep checking the tree, make sure nothing looks different once I'm up here. I'll also look at the casualty. As I'm coming up past the casualty, I'll probably just relay information ready for the ground crew. So I'll say, casualty is unconscious. Their chest is still rising and falling, so they're breathing, but they're looking red in the face. I can see it's quite a bad bleed. Okay, so the next thing I'll look at and communicate is the casualties line. So while I'm here, I'll just look up and I'll just tell the ground crew, the anchor point looks good, it hasn't been compromised, his ropes haven't been cut, I know they're long enough to reach the ground, so I'm quite happy to continue to use his anchor. The next thing I'm doing is, if I've decided it's required, I'm just putting a redirect in. Remember, part of the score sheet was to make sure that you were secured at the casualty with a good work position. So this redirect, if it's in the correct place, will allow me to come down to my casualty, and then I can deal with them. So I'm still looking at his ropes at the moment. So I'm going to continue to talk. Now, while I'm talking, notice that I'm also sorting my ropes out. I've got time here to make sure that my rope is the same direction that I'm going to go down, and I'm also checking that it's long enough. Remember, it's a work scenario, so anything that you drop like my rope now, I would make sure is given a clear warning to the ground crew. So stand clear, rope coming down.
Clear.
Good, so I'm set now. I've got a good redirect. I'm happy that the rope is okay on my casualty. I'm going to check the equipment. This is part of the assessment, so I need to spend a bit of time here. So this is the bit that everyone rushes. They spend too long on the ground, they only get a few points, they take too long to get to the casualty, and then they run out of time. Out of the whole part of the score sheet, this is the area where the most points are. So I've got here, I know his anchor point is good, I know his rope's long enough. I've checked his equipment, this has not been compromised, so this is all good. The next thing I'll do is I'll check the casualty and give any first aid as necessary, which might just be me telling you on the ground that we've got a casualty, eyes are open, not breathing, heavy bleed, chest is rising and falling, just any information, any bandage I could put on. Now, usually around this time, the emergency services will turn up. So I'll communicate with you on the ground. This is what's happened. I'm able to carry out the rescue. Would you like me to continue and bring them down? And they'll say yes. I've attached myself to the casualty. So I've got a harness to harness attachment point. So I've gone from the casualty's bridge to my bridge. Just be careful. Any textile items, they're on hardware, so it's not over the bridge, or you put a carabiner connection in there. The other thing I've done is I've taken his lanyard off, and let's say he's going unconscious, I've just put the lanyard from his side D around his back and clipped it into the front D-ring, so it's helped to support him. Okay, so this is at the point now that I'm ready to descend. I've done everything, his ropes are good, my ropes are good, we're ready to go down. So I need to verbally tell you, stand clear before I start pulling on this hitch. Okay, stand clear. So you are in charge of this descent, okay? So notice my feet are against the tree to push the casualty away. And this is usually the time that people are like saying, you're about to run out of time. And they bomb out. Yeah! Okay. You get every single point up until the time that you time out. So if you now rush and make a mistake, or it looks scrappy and it's untidy, you won't get points. So if I'm about to run out of time, I'll just carry on, say, this is Lissandro, he's been in the tree about 7 minutes, he's got a bad cut to his left arm, and then say I time out, that's cool, I got good points.
So for one of the most important parts of everything, right?
Unclip.
Unclipping.
Okay, so time stops. Oh, run out of time. Oh.
Celebrando, where's the tequila? Good.
Too early.
Muy temprano. No puedes celebrar temprano.
So remember, transfer them over to the emergency services, tell them who they are, say you've done your job, and I'm going to transfer you over then you unclip.
Monica, you had a question? Okay, so her question is, she's seen some competitors that have a lot of time, so they'll get down and they'll like spend a little bit more time talking about it. Is that for extra points, or do you get extra points, or does it matter? Does it not matter?
So it never used to matter, but what happened?
So it matters now.
So it matters now. So what used to happen is you'd get down, and you got 30 seconds. You keep talking, which is kind of pointless, really. You've done a rescue. You want
like
to.
The guy's dying, right?
Yeah. So to stop that, they've given time points. So when you look at I'm on the wrong page, I think. You finish. So what they'll do is they'll write down the time, and then you'll get time points within a certain time. So it's beneficial if I'm quick and I get all the points. But if I get all the points and I use all the time, that's cool as well. But you just won't get the extra bonus.
Okay. So you would get extra points if you
We're quick.
work quick.
Yeah. So if I get down and let's say I've got 45 seconds and I'm confident or I'm pleased with what I've said, then I'll unclip. If I get down and I think I didn't say what's happened to the casualty, I may just say that and then unclip.
Entonces, but would you get extra points for cutting it real short, or that's not going to matter?
So if you finish within, so you have 75 seconds or more left, you'll get extra 5 points on top of all the others.
So if you finish with more time, then?
Yeah, you'd be
So
better.
it's not like if you finish at the last.
So, de hecho, si acabas con más tiempo,
So if you finish quick,
si acabas
you get
con
more
más
points.